very passive stretch. Want you to grab a wall. I got my posts here, kind of as always, and we're just gonna do a nice, easy hang. So sticking those hips out behind us, letting our head just kind of relax here. Feeling that stretch to the back. Hello, Deep. Thanks for joining. We're just getting started here with a nice, easy shoulder hang. So pressing up against your wall, or if you also have a post or something. And as we're here, we can also open up a little bit to each side. So rotating our chest, kind of just emphasizing one side or the other. Nice and slow here. Just kind of feeling out those tight spots. Walnut arm might be a little bit tighter, so give that a little bit more time. We just want to hang here. Go. All right. So we can release from there. We're going to get into some nice, easy neck stretches here. Just going to be using our hands to just kind of assist, looking to the side, pressing on our chin or our cheek here, and holding. You can also do this seated or on our knees if we prefer. All right, and switching to the other side, just looking to the side. Nice, gentle press on the chin here. All right, back to the other side here. Loosening up the neck. And once more back to the other side. All right, now we're gonna tilt our head to the side here. Again, using our hand to just apply some gentle pressure here. Can also use our opposite hand, kind of reach down, maybe pretend like we're holding a table or something. Kind of help intensify that stretch. Holding here. Can add some forward and backwards nods as well. So looking up to the sky and looking down to the ground while we have our head tilted to the side here. So again, just kind of going through that range of motion, feeling where we're extra tight. All right, and switching to the other side. Same thing here. Just applying gentle pressure. Nice and easy here. And again, adding those forward and backward head nods. Or we can just stay with the static stretch if we prefer. Couple more nods here. Good. All right, so we're gonna go to our wall once again, or our post here. We're gonna have our arm at a 90-degree angle and just pressing up against, kind of bringing our body in front of us, stretching out that lower pec, as well as the front of the shoulder here. Nice, easy one. Putting a little bit less stress on the shoulder than that other outstretched arm or outstretched wall stretch we do. Not as crazy of angles. It's nice and easy, just holding here. Trying to twist that body away from our arm a little bit as well to help intensify the stretch. Good. Hold here for about 5 more seconds, and then we'll switch to the other side. Good. So the exact same thing on the other side here. Just feeling it through the pec, through the front of the shoulder here. Again, adding that gentle twist to the outside to help, again, just intensify the stretch. Good. All right. So next, we're going to grab our towel, our band, or our broomsticks, whatever we have available. I'll be using my band here. We can come down to our knees here if we'd like, or if we would like to stay standing, kind of whatever you prefer. We're going to be working the shoulders here. So we're just going to start off nice and easy, trying to keep those going back over our head and all the way down to our belly. Trying to keep our hands as narrow as possible while allowing us to complete this motion, keeping our arms locked out or maybe just slightly bent. So going slowly through this once again, feeling those spots where it's extra tight. And again, challenging ourselves by narrowing those hands. All right. Now we're going to move into single arm coming over. So we're going to go both arms all the way down to the back, and then just bring one arm up and over. Good. So working on some good shoulder mobility here, finding some range of motions. Oh. Good. Also sitting on the ankles here kind of helps that ankle flexibility, stretching out the front of our shins. All right, we'll go one more on each side. Nice and slow. Good work, everybody. All right, so from here, I'm gonna grab my dowel here. We can keep doing this with the resistance bands, but we're gonna go behind the back, doing our reaches here. So again, using that dowel if we need, or if we can connect with our hands, just like so. Stretching out the shoulders. Reaching right over here. And like I said, if you need the band or the broomstick, no problem there. I know when I switch to the other side, I definitely won't be connecting my hands here. So just holding this position. If we're on our knees here as well, we can switch to kind of putting our feet upright here, stretching out the arches a little bit. Cool. If maybe sitting on your arches here is really difficult as well, I recommend maybe grabbing a lacrosse ball or something, maybe rolling out the feet. All right, we can switch to the other side here. I'm just gonna go grab a Kleenex. There's a spider right beside me, so I will be right back. You can just do that exact same stretch on the other side. There we go. So again, bringing those arms together. Like I said, I won't be able to get it on this side. So using our broomstick, our dowel to kind of just assist us here. Trying to walk our hands as close together as possible. Challenging our flexibility in our shoulders. Nice and easy here, just holding this position. Just keep walking those hands together as we go. Good. All right, next we're gonna need our chair or our box or our couch, kind of whatever we got. I got a little half chair here with a removed back. We're gonna be doing our front rack fixer. So grabbing our towel or band. I recommend something harder here for this one, makes it a little bit, so a broomstick or a dowel works a little bit better, I find. But coming down into a bridge position here, and then separating those hands on our towel or our broomstick, and letting our chest kind of sink towards the ground. I want you guys to kind of think about, with each breath, letting your chest get an inch or two closer to the ground, just dropping it a little bit. Don't have to think about a flat back too much here. It's okay to let our chest drop below the height of our hips. Again, with each breath, getting an inch or two closer to the ground while trying to get those hands kind of wider than our elbow width here. This is a stretch I discovered only a couple weeks ago, but it has been working wonders for me with some of my shoulder pain and lack of mobility. So I like to incorporate it and try and show you guys. Good. Also, if we ever don't have a chair or anything available, we can just do this one on the ground. I just find kind of elevating the upper body helps target those shoulders a little bit better. Good. Hold here for another 15 seconds or so. All right. So from here, we can set our bands and our chairs to the side. We're going to be coming down onto all fours into our quadruped position. So just like so, and we're going to be doing some thoracic chest rotations. So putting our hand on the back or the side of our head, bring our elbow down to our wrist, and then opening up to the sky here, all right? It's a great mobilizing exercise. Thoracic or upper chest, upper back mobility can often be overlooked. We're always so concerned with our joints, our knees, our ankles, our shoulders. And we don't really think about the back quite as much, or at least in terms of mobilizing and warming it up. So this is a great one for sure. Aim for about 10 reps here. Again, going nice and slow, letting the eyes kind of follow the path of our elbow. Trying to limit any rotation in the lower back. Trying to keep it all in the upper back here. Once we kind of hit that 8 to 10 range, we can switch sides. Show you guys the side profile here. This is definitely a staple for a lot of volleyball players like myself. Lots of shoulder issues, kind of help mobilize in the back, help avoid some of those, keeping everything engaged. Right, like I said, aiming for about 10 per side. After we hit that on the second side, we're gonna go back to the first and just do a quick 4. So a nice little mini set again on each side to finish off here. So the key thing with a lot of these kind of mobility exercises, as opposed to the stretches, is really taking them slow. Oftentimes, you don't want to be working through them fast. Want to kind of feel that whole range of motion, as I've said already. Good. So once we're done there, take your time, don't rush through those, but we're going to be moving into cat-cows. So staying on all fours here, pressing our palms into the ground, bringing our back as high as we can, and then going the exact opposite way, sticking our butt out, bringing our stomach to the ground. So again, a great mobilizing activity. Helps kind of activate and stretch some of those back muscles we sometimes neglect. Also a great stretch to kind of work the shoulders, pressing forward as we come into that cat position. Kind of good to put ourselves in some unnatural positions. Find some new flexibility, avoid injury. All right, going for a few more reps here. There we go. Looking good. Really pressing that back, those palms into the ground, sorry. Getting those shoulders up as high as we can. Good. All right, so we're gonna move back onto our knees here. We're gonna be coming back, sticking those hands out behind us, pointing our fingers straight behind us as well. Spreading, also wanna try and spread those fingers as wide as possible. So not having small, narrow hands, and allowing our chest to come forward and our shoulders to drop down and back. Feeling the front of the shoulders open up, the chest open up, stretching out those biceps. Anything is feeling particularly tight, I highly recommend giving it a foam roll after this. If you have one available, or using a lacrosse ball. If you don't have a foam roller too, maybe some PVC pipe, kind of anything works. Any hard object you can kind of just press those muscles with. All right, we can continue to lean back here, taking this away from a shoulder stretch, going into more of a quad focus. So coming down to our elbows, or maybe just sticking those hands further back, depending on our flexibility. And if we can, even getting rid of the elbows and going straight to our back here. All right. So we're going to be coming up to our feet now, going in to a deep squat here. So we're going to come down into our squat, and I want us to just kind of sit in this position for a little bit, kind of rotating from side to side, using those elbows to kind of press our knees out, open up those hips a little bit. At any point, if you have to stand up, maybe give the legs a shake, that's no worries. Just want to try and get comfortable in this deep squat position. Again, coming up if we need to. Can also lean forward, lean backwards a little bit. Leaning forward, kind of challenging that ankle mobility. Good. Then from here, we're going to grab onto our toes, lift those hips up, stretch those hamstrings out, and just repeat that motion there. So if you want to hold that position at the top, stretching out those hamstrings, feel free. Or we can just kind of cycle through, standing up and sitting down. Good. So giving those hamstrings a little bit of attention. Trying to keep a flat back as we come to the top here. So if we have to let go of those toes in order to keep that back flat, that's no worries. Good. All right, now we're gonna move into our runner stretch here. So coming down onto one knee here. Just gonna be focusing on the hips a little bit. So I want us to focus on kind of tucking our hips under us here. So rather than coming forward as we lean in, trying to tuck our hips under, and then we can go into our pulses here. So a common issue of kind of bad posture is having our hips rotate forward. So by tucking them under, we're going the opposite way, kind of promoting good posture while also intensifying that stretch through the hips. Like I said, adding some pulses in there, but not letting those hips come forward. Good. So if the hips are extremely tight, we can keep it with the pulses, but maybe our quads are feeling it a little bit more today. We can grab that back ankle, really stretch out that quad while still focusing on bringing those hips under us. Again, I know this can be a tough one on the knee, so maybe grabbing a pillow, using a couch, I like that, makes it easier. Or we can bring it to a standing quad if we'd like as well, whichever we prefer. Good. And then our next progression here is going to be sticking that front leg straight out in front of us, working on that hamstring, adding a slight hinge in the hips here, or we can come all the way back down onto our heel if we prefer that as well. Both ways you're going to be hitting the hamstring. Just kind of everybody's body's different. Everybody prefers different variations of stretches. So this is one of my favorite progressions. Get the hips, quads, and hamstrings kind of all in one swift go. Good. All right, so we can bring it back to the other side here into our runner stretch. Again, bring those hips under us, promoting that good posture while releasing the hip flexors here. Again, adding those pulses. It's all right if our knee goes a little bit over our toes. Not any weight or anything with us right now, so not putting much stress on the knees, but allowing our hips to kind of find a new range of motion. Good. And as I said, if the quads are exceptionally tight, you can kind of skip some of this hip stuff, get right into grabbing that ankle. I'm going to give my hips a little bit of extra time. They're a little tighter than my quads today, so good. Grabbing that back ankle. So kind of a full body stretch today, not much mobility exercises for the lower half. Kind of just wanted to focus on some recovery, some nice static stretching. Again, if the hamstrings are exceptionally tight today, feel free to get into that stretch a little bit quicker. No worries there. There's no one size fits all for stretching, so got to kind of feel your own aches and pains and address those as we need. All right. Coming down into the hamstring here. Again, if this is maybe tough on the knee, we can also elevate this leg here and just standing. So I'm lucky with my carpet here, but I know yoga mats aren't the thickest, especially maybe on hardwood. So just adding that slight hinge in the hips. Good. All right, so we're gonna stay in this stance here. Now we're gonna focus a little bit more on the ankles. I just want us to bend over and just pull up on the front of our toes here, kind of releasing and coming back up, stretching out the Achilles a little bit more, working on some ankle flexibility, bringing those toes up to the sky. This one's called the shoemaker, so really using those hands to provide some tension. Kind of just a different variation from that common calf wall stretch you see. And switching to the other side here. So pulling those toes up to our face. Good. All right, and we're gonna finish off here with some shin work. So just on the ground, pressing those toes into the ground, feeling that stretch come up through the ankle, up through the shin. Stretching our tibialis anterior here. So again, something that can kind of get overlooked is we're always much more focused on the calves, other parts of the leg, but tib ants can definitely provide some power, provide some strength in jumping, squatting. So do not overlook it. Make sure you take care of it. Avoid those shin splints. All right, we can switch to the other side here. So I want to make sure we got good ankle flexibility. Poor ankle flexibility can kind of hurt squat form a lot of the time, limit squat depth. So I want to make sure we're taking care of that, helping out the rest of our body. All right. So you can hold this for as long as you like. That is all I got for you today. That takes us to the end of our 30 minutes. So thank you guys for joining me today. Tomorrow's class with Steven at 10 a.m., strength times agility. If you're in the KW area and you want to go check it out in studio, just give us a message on Instagram. Come in. I know we've seen some friendly faces in the studio, so it's been good to see as we kind of ramp up for our grand opening or grand reopening on August 1st. And yeah, and also we still in the nomination for best boot camp and fitness studio in the Waterloo region, voting open till the 26th. So we appreciate if you go give us a couple votes there. Yeah, that's about everything. Thank you, Deep. Thank you, Jess and Shao.